on yeah, well, page 2. I don't know where we here.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I I remember that we surpassed the passage where he tries to make the soldiers braver and fight harder like that.
I see. Yeah, well, we have no soldiers here. I mean, these are workers on the ship. Okay. Anyway, the idea I'm not really, I'm not really sure where, but I will. Yeah, let's say, yeah, we were on the idea that the captain, of course, they were talking about him, that he's very tough and he's very adamant, he's very stubborn, and he won't go back home till his ship is full of oil. And really the men here, and especially here, of course, the two men, Ben and the steward, talking and discussing the idea that this ship is miserable and they have to go back because they have signed the time to stay and work in this ship is over. So that's why they think that they need to go back now. Yeah, let me see. Let me also open the camera so you can think that I'm talking here like a real person, not a dead man. Anyway, here, when, as I said, the steward and Ben talking about it, and they wanted to sort of encourage each other to see what's going to happen. And here again, Ben and the steward thinking that he's very tough and wicked to have brought his wife with him, and also maybe he's driving her crazy also because of the situation. When here he said, you know, they were talking about it, the steward said, hey, she was good to all of us. It would have been hell on board without her, for he is a hard man, a hard man, a driver if there ever was one. I hope he is satisfied now, driving her on till she is near lost her mind. You know, of course, I think in a way they are right. And maybe again to say, maybe they could be a bit exaggerating, because they say, you know, he even brought his wife with him in this journey. And now she also herself is feeling terrible that she wants to go back home like everybody else. And, you know, they think that she's on their side. Again, you can see here, it's a God's wonder. We are not a ship full of crazed people with the damned eyes all the time and the quiet so thick you are afraid to hear your own voice. Yeah, I mean, look at this exaggeration that they are really feeling absolutely miserable and nearly crazy. He said, you know, being here on this ship, we're nearly all crazy, including her, of course, his wife, they mean, the captain's wife, Mrs. Keeney. And they said, yeah, of course, because here, you know, we should thank God that we are not all crazy. And because, he said, because of this damned ice, and because of this terrible quietness here, you know, everything is absolutely dead quiet. And, you know, he said that you get afraid to hear your own voice, which is really a nice, you know, exaggeration here. And Ben, of course, with a frightened glance towards the door on right, she don't never speak to me no more. Look at this negatives here again. This sentence full of, yeah, somebody speaking. Faiz, you want to say something?
Not to spoke.
Yeah, because your microphone is open and maybe it's making noise. Anyway, so yeah, so the idea here, you can see, yeah, they just say here, Ben, of course, you know, talking about it, that again, look at this, you know, English. She don't never speak to me no more. It is really funny English here. You have so many negatives. Just looks at me as if she didn't know me. You know, just here really means just. Looks at me, she means she looks at him only as if she, he said, as if she didn't know me. The steward again, she don't know no one but him. She talks to him when she does talk right enough. You know, you can see here they're really angry and exaggerating that everybody is angry about it. The steward again, of course, you know, notice here, furiously shaking his fist, God send his soul to hell for the devil he is. You know, he's really exaggerating. They think that he's like a devil. He's a very strong and tough, stubborn, single-minded, evil devil man, you know? And of course, we say because of his own strong, as we said, determination. Really, this is the idea that this play is about this, the question of the will and the power and the determination. Of course, to some extent, in the positive sense, not in the negative sense. And here he's saying, you know, he's accusing him that he's like a devil. He's not moving. There is the noise of someone coming slowly down the companionway stairs. The steward hurries to his stacked up dishes. To his stacked up dishes. He's so nervous from fright that he knocks off the top one, which falls and breaks on the floor. He stands aghast, trembling with dread. Ben is violently rubbing off the organ with a piece of cloth, which he has snatched from his pocket. Captain Keeney appears in the doorway on right and comes into the cabin, removing his fur cap as he does so. He is a man of 40, he's a man of about 40, around 5'10" in height, but looking much shorter on account of the enormous proportions of his shoulders and chest. His face is massive and deeply lined, with gray blue eyes of a bleak hardness, and a tightly clenched, thin-lipped mouth. You know, it's really an amazing, lovely description here. Absolutely graphic, physical description of Mr. Keeney's physique, his face, his shoulders, his chest, his lips, his face, his eyes, everything, the way he looks, you know, as a really tough man around. He said, you know, the age, his height, about 5'10" means 5 feet 10 inches. 5'10" means 5 feet 10 inches. And here he comes to the, you know, to the man, to the boy who, you know, well, to the steward who knocks one of the dishes, you know, on the floor. His face is massive and deeply lined. Yeah, I read that. His thick hair is long and gray. He's dressed in a heavy blue jacket and blue jean pants stuffed into his sea boots. He's followed into the cabin by the second mate, a rangy 6-footer. Again here, his second mate, who is really his second man in the ship, if you like, or his right-hand man in the ship. And he's called the second mate. The second helper, if you like, or, you know, the aid for the ship and, you know, in taking care of everything. And he says, a rangy 6-footer, I mean, you know, around six foot height, with a lean, weather-beaten face. You know, his face also seems to be really tough, and again, been harshly beaten by the weather, you know, means the look of his face seems to be really having hard time in the sea. The man or the mate is dressed about the same as the captain. He's a man of 30 or so. You know, you can see again here the age, the description of the physical description of the second mate. Again, I think you can see really it's a lovely image here about how he's described. And Keeney now speaks, comes toward the steward with a stern look on his face. The steward is visibly frightened, and the stack of dishes rattles in his trembling hands. Keeney draws back his fist, and the steward shrinks away. The fist is gradually lowered, and Keeney speaks slowly. It would be like hitting a worm. It's nigh on 2 bells, Mr. Steward, and this truck not cleaned yet. You know, here the man, Keeney, really being very sarcastic and very angry with him. He said, if I hit you, you know, I would like being, you know, hitting a worm. You are as weak as, even weaker than a worm. To hit you like this in my fist, as he said, and he said, it would be like hitting a worm. I'm not going to hit you. And he said, it's now for nearly 2 hours. It's nigh on 2 bells. Really means here, you have been here for 2 hours. Nearly 2 hours you are working here, Mr. Steward. And here he's laughing at him and being ironical and sarcastic here, saying to him, Mr. Steward, you know, he's his servant and he would never call him Mr. But of course he's mocking him and laughing at him. And he said, you haven't finished cleaning this room, this truck? The steward, yes, sir. Keeney, instead of doing your rightful work, you've been below here gossiping old woman's talk with that boy. You know, he said, instead of you doing your work, you're terrible man. You wasting your time gossiping with this man, gossiping old talk, old woman's talk, you know, nonsense. You're talking like an old woman. You stupid man, you should do your job. To Ben again furiously, get out of this, you, clean up the chart room. Ben darts past the mate to the door, open door. Pick up that dish, Mr. Steward. The steward doing so with difficulty. Yes, sir. And Keeney told him, of course, in a threat, the next dish you break, Mr. Steward, you take a bath in the Bering Sea at the end of a rope. Really, this is a lovely expression. Yeah, remember, it was who broke one of the dishes. He said, the next time you break a dish, I'm going to tie you on a rope and dangle you down into the terrible, cold, frozen sea. The Bering Sea, of course, the name of the sea. Next time, I'm going to tie you to a rope. Notice, at the end of a rope, you know, to tie you on a rope and dangle you down into the terrible cold sea next time you break a dish. Of course, it's a threatening remark. The steward, of course, again trembling, yes, sir. He hurries out. The steward mates walk slowly over to the captain. Mate, I weren't specially anxious the man at the wheel should catch that. I wanted to say to you, sir, that's why I asked you to come below. You know, here his mate telling captain, he said, yeah, I wanted to tell you something, but I never wanted to do that. Well, I did not want to do it and to make the other man up there, you know, who is in the steering wheel. You know, I don't want to speak in front of him. And Keeney again, of course, said, speak out, speak or say, Mr. Slocum. Yeah, this is, of course, as we say, this is his, as I said, a second, really second right-hand man on the ship. His name, Mr. Slocum. And then the mate, of course, telling him, I'm afraid there will be trouble with the hands by the look of things. Look here again, we said by the hand, with the hands. He means with the workers. There will be trouble, there will be problem with the men on the ship. by the look of things. It looks like being, there is trouble. People are maybe planning or plotting things. They will likely turn ugly, every blessed one of them, if you don't put back. The 2 years they signed up for is up to date. Yeah. So here again, the mate is saying to him, yeah, the men are planning to go back because the contract they have signed is over. And every one of them, again, notice I think he's ironical when he said every blessed one of them. Yeah, I think he's ironical because he doesn't mean they are blessed. Every blessed one of them means every single one of them who thinks that he or she is really a good man or woman in this way. Well, there are no women workers here, only boys and men. So, that's what the mate's saying to Mr. Keeney. And Keeney, of course, and do you think you are telling me something new, Mr. Slocum? He's saying, do you think I don't know that? You're not telling me something I don't know. I have felt it in the air this long time past. Yeah, he said, I can see it everywhere, in the air. I mean, I can see the whole atmosphere. Everybody seems to be on their edges. And I can see the way they are, it seems that there will be trouble. Do you think I have not seen their ugly looks and the grudging way they worked? Yeah, he's saying, do you think I can't see that? I know the way they are. I know the way they behave and the way they work. And they're so, so angry about it. He said, yeah, I can see them. The door in rear is opened with Mr. Keeney. Mrs. Keeney stands in the doorway. She is a slight, sweet-faced little woman, primly dressed in black. Her eyes are red with weeping and her face drawn and pale. Yeah. Basmala? Basmala? Basmala, I can't hear you.
Doctor.
Yeah? I can't hear you.
I need to leave the class early because my sister is sick and I need to take her to the hospital.
Oh my God. Yeah, okay, Faiz, no problem. You can go anytime. Basmala, can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me, Basmala? You have problem with your microphone? Yeah. Yeah. What's the meaning here of her face drawn? Anybody? Khalifa, where are you? I haven't seen you for ages. Khalifa?
Yes, doctor, I'm here.
What is drawn? Her face drawn and pale.
I don't know, doctor.
What's to draw? How when you want to draw something? Drawing, it's not like painting, but here her face drawn. Anybody knows?
Doctor, can you hear me?
You are speaking from London. Where are you? Who's this?
Amfal.
Amfal, your voice is so far away in the desert. I can't hear you properly. Speak louder.
I have problem with the
Amfal.
mic. Sorry about that.
Yeah, speak. Okay, speak up. You want to say something? Oh my God, these microphones are getting funny. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, I got it. Really means drawn here means really is like being dry, as if it's getting deadly or it's getting like dying and dying slowly. Drawn, really sometimes it's funny, we say this, you know, as if all the health has been drawn out of the face, has been taken away from the face. You know, here her face drawn and pale. بدا وجهها مسحوبا وشاحبا مسحوبا. Really here, this is as if to say all the good looks in it is being taken away, drawn out of it, taken away. She takes in the
She was the breast, doctor.
Sorry?
She was the breast. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, she was?
The breast.
Oh, the best. What did you say? I can't
Breast,
follow.
the breast.
Her eyes are
The
red.
breast.
Oh, depressed. I see. Yeah. Depressed. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Depressed. Yeah, of course. Yeah, depression. Absolutely. Her face, yeah. I see what you mean. Thank you. Really to say here that she's unhappy and she wants to go back like everybody else. Notice, she takes in the cabin with a frightened glance and stands as if fixed at the spot by some nameless dread, clasping and unclasping her hands nervously. The two men turn and look at her. Keeney with rough tenderness. Well, Annie, Mrs. Keeney, as if awakening from a dream. David, she's silent. The man starts for the doorway. Keeney turning to him sharply. Wait. Yes, sir. Do you want anything, Annie? Mrs. Keeney, after a pause, during which she seems to be endeavoring to collect her thoughts. I thought maybe I'd go up on deck, David, to get a breath of fresh air. Yeah, I mean, Keeney is, as we said, Mrs. Keeney, she feels really miserable and she wants to have some fresh air to go up to the top, to the top floor of the ship, at the top of the ship, which is the deck, on deck. And that's what she said. She stands humbly awaiting his permission. He and the mate exchange a significant glance. Notice here the way she's described, as if she's taking permission from her husband, as if, again, when she said, humbly, as if she's really weak and feeling submissive, And again, I think to say here, when you say his permission, as if Mr. Keeney or Captain Keeney is in absolute control of everybody here. The ship, his wife, the men, everyone. He is the real master of everything. And Keeney, it's too cold, Annie. You'd best stay below today. There's nothing to look at on deck but ice. He said, what do you want to see up there? There's nothing up there. There's only ice, What do you want to see? Mrs. Keeney, of course, monotonously, again here in a very really repetitive routine, helpless, depressed way. Yeah, I know, ice. But there's nothing to see down here but these walls. Again, she said, well, at least up there, ice. And here there's nothing but these terrible walls. She makes a gesture of loathing. She's angry, loathing. She's being hateful. Keeney, you can play the organ, Annie. Yeah. He said, I brought you this big piano, this organ-like piano. You can play it. Mrs. Keeney, I hate the organ. It puts me in mind of home. You know, yeah, again, she said, I don't like it because it reminds me of home. I no longer, you know, want to play, you know, the organ. Keeney, a touch of resentment in his voice. He became angry, a bit angry. He said, I got it just for you. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating here to say that, yeah, I brought it only for you. And Mrs. Keeney, of course, I know. She turns away from them and walks slowly to the bench on left. She lifts up one of the curtains and looks through a porthole, then utters an exclamation of joy. Ah, water, clear water. As far as I can see, how good it looks after all these months of ice. She turns round to them, her face transfigured with joy. Ah, now I must go up. I must go upon deck and look at it, David. Keeney frowning again. Best not to today. Best not today, Annie. Best wait for a day when the sun shines. Mrs. Keeney again desperately. But the sun never shines in this terrible place. And Keeney again in a tone of command in his voice. Best not today, Annie. Mrs. Keeney again crumbling before his command abjectly. Very well, David. She stands there staring straight before her as if in a daze. The two men look at her, you know, uneasily. Keeney again sharply. Annie? Yes, David? Me and Mr. Slocum has business to talk about, ship's business. Very well, David. She goes slowly out, rear, and leaves the door 3/4 shut behind her. Yeah. Keeney again, but best not have her on deck if there's going to be any trouble. Yeah. Of course, here he's saying this, if there is any, you know, if there's going to be any trouble, you know, I'd rather have her here away. Again, mate said, yes, sir. And trouble there's going to be, I feel it in my bones. Take a revolver from the pocket of his coat and examines it. Got yourn? Got yourn means got your gun in. Do you have your own gun with you? Got yourn? You know, this is got yourn means your own, you know, gun in your pocket, it means. Yes, sir. No, not that we will have to use them. Not if I know the breed of dog. Say, yeah, I know. I'm not going to use the gun because I know them. I know their kind. Their breed of dog. I mean, this is really terrible to say, breed of dog, as if to say, you know, I know them. These people are you know, weak and, if you like here, you know, cowards. And again, it's funny to use the word dog here, to look down, really disrespectfully looking down on his men, especially when they are ugly. Of course, that's why he says the word dog, because he knows they're going to be ugly. Just to frighten them up a bit, grimly, I ain't never been forced to use one yet, and trouble I have had by hand and by seas long as I can remember, and will have till my dying day, I reckon. Yeah, I mean, this is really a very strong statement here by Mr. Keeney saying, I've never used this gun. I never used it. I never really used it because I never needed to use it because and even I had so many trouble and problems in ship with men and everything, but I never really needed to use it because I'm tough enough. I can handle problems without using my gun. And that's what he means. I've been here, for so many years. And he said, till even I'm going to die, but I have never used this gun because I know how to handle my men. Then you ain't going to turn back. So here the mate asking him, then you are decided not to go back home? Keeney, turn back, Mr. Slocum. Mr. Slocum, did you ever hear of me pointing south for home with only a measly 400 barrel of oil in the hold? He's mocking him and saying, do you think I'll go back? You crazy? Have you ever heard me or seen me going back with only 400 barrels in my ship? 400 barrel of oil, in my hold, or in the hold, in the ship, in the containers of the ship? No, sir, but the grub is getting low, meaning the food is running down and running low, and maybe you have to go back. There is enough to last a long time yet, if they are careful with it, and there is plenty of water. They say it's not fit to eat. What's left, and the 2 years they signed on for is up today. He repeats the same thing. They say their contracts are over. The time they have signed is finished today, so they are decided to go back. They might make trouble for you in the courts when they get home. Yeah. So he said, yeah, maybe they will have problem, and then if you don't, they will take you to court when they go back home. To hell with them. Let them make what law trouble they can. Yeah, what law trouble they can. Yeah, they can. So yeah, I don't care about them. Damn them. I will care nothing about it. They can do whatever they like. I don't give a damn about the money. I've got to get the oil. You ain't turning no damn sea lawyer. Be you, Mr. Slocum. Saying, I hope you're not going to defend them like a lawyer, you terrible man. Are you going to turn against me and, be their lawyer? Are you going to defend them as their lawyer or sea lawyer? Of course, the mate, is not flushing, not by a hell of a sight, sir. He said, oh, no, certainly not. By a hell of a sight. Again, this is really a terrible expression. What do you fools want to go home for now? As if to say, you stupid people, why do you want to go home? Why do you need to go home? Their share of the 400 barrel wouldn't keep them in chewing tobacco. He said, this oil that we have in the ship, only 400 barrels will not be enough for all of the men. If we want to share it, they won't be able to buy tobacco with that money. Tobacco, the way he said it, chewing tobacco. Tobacco means, smoking, like chewing, smoking, tobacco. And the mate again slowly, they wants to get back to their folks and things, I suppose. Again, of course, this is the funny English, they wants. We never say they wants. They want to go back to their folks, I suppose. And Keeney looking at him searchingly, you want to turn back too, and you want to turn back too. No, he's mocking him. Maybe you do the same. Maybe you feel the same. Are you going back the same? Don't lie, Mr. Slocum. It's written down plain in your eyes. I can see it in your eyes, It's written very clearly in your eyes that you also want to go back like them. Tell me, don't be frightened. Tell me. I hope, Mr. Slocum, you ain't going to join the men against me. Again here, notice here, join the men against me. join the men against me, you know. I hope you're not going to join the men against me. You know, of course, here Kini is threatening Slocum. And again, at the same time, knowing Slocum could be, but no, Slocum will not do it. That ain't fair, sir, to say such things. Again, saying to him, well, I don't do that. That's not fair to say this thing to me. Kini, again, with satisfaction. I weren't much afraid of that, Tom. I weren't. Again, this is really funny English, as you know. He said, no, I was not worried about that. You have been with me nigh on 10 years. Now you have been with me for nearly 10 years, and I have learned ye wailing. Again, this is funny English. I have learned ye. I have taught you. You know, this is very funny English to say. To learn you means to teach you. You know, there's a difference between teaching and learning. You know, you teach someone to do something. But when you learn yourself. We say, I learn swimming, but I teach swimming to my son. You know, of course, there's a difference here. But of course, here he's using it in a funny, confusing way to mean to teach. I have learned ye wailing. No man can say I ain't a good master if I be a hard one. He said, yeah, I've been a good man with you, you know. I have taught you all the business of whaling and all this ship business. Nobody can say that I'm not a great master. You know that. Yeah. Even if, he said, if I be a hard one, even if I am, you know, a hard one, you know, a tough master. Again, the mate, I weren't thinking of myself, sir, about turning home, I mean. But Mrs. Kini, sir, seems like me ain't just satisfied up here, ain't like what with the cold air, bad luck, and the ice and all. Here, I think, again, the mate is playing tricks to say if Mr. Kini, you know, by bringing the subject of Mrs. Kini. And of course, Kini was very tough with him. His face clouding, rebukingly, but not severely. That's my business, Mr. Slocum. I will thank you to steer a clear course of that. Yeah. What's it to do with you, to do with my wife? It's none of your bloody business. Get away of this, you know, to steer away from my business. This is my job, my business to think of my wife, what my wife wants or what my wife, you know, needs. That's not your business. And that's what he uses, steer away, steer a clear course, means it's none of your business. Get lost. The ice will break up soon to the northward. He said, I know the ice will break soon to the northward. I could see it starting today. He said, I can see the ice is going to break. Today it's going to break. I can see it. And when it goes and we get some sun, Annie will perk up. Annie will be funny, will be nice when she knows when the sun is shining and we start wailing, and she will be fine. Another pause, then he burst forth. It ain't the damned money that what keeps me up in the North Seas, Tom. He said, you know that I'm not staying here because of money. You know I'm not crazy for money here. I'm not staying to get oil for the money. It's not the money. And he said, you know that. But I can't go back home, but with a measly 400 barrel of oil, I would die first. He said, I can't go back with my ship empty. I will die first. I will never go back with my ship empty. I will never. He said, I will die first. You see, this is his determination. I will not. I will die first. I would die first. I ain't never come back home in all my days without a full ship. Ain't that truth? Yeah. He said, I never came back with my ship empty. And you know this is the truth. I have never come back home. I have never come back home with a ship empty, was not full of oil. And you know it. And this is a fact. Yes, sir. But this voyage you've been ice-bound and Kini. And do you suppose any of them would believe that? Any of them skippers? I have beaten voyage after voyage. You know, he's worried about his reputation. And really, this is the idea I'm saying about determination and will. He's worried about his reputation. He said, everybody back home, all my friends, all my family, all my neighbors, all the other ship skippers, all the other ship captains will laugh at me, will mock me. They know that they will say, he came back with his ship empty. He said, they will mock me. Do you think they will believe me? Can't you hear them laughing and sneering? Tibbets and Paris and Sims and the rest, and all the whole port making fun of me? Dave Keeney, what boasts he is the best whaling skipper out of home port, coming back with a measly 400 barrel of oil? You know, he's repeating this. He said, do you think that people will laugh? Well, do you think they will know only that I came back only with 400 barrels of oil? They will laugh at me. They will mock me. Hell, I got to get the oil. I tell you, how could I figure on this ice? It's never been so bad before in 30 years I've been coming here, and now it's breaking up. In a couple of days it'll be all gone, and there is whale here, plenty of them. I know there is. I know there is. Look at this English. I know there is. I know there is, and I ain't never gone back, never done wrong yet. I got to get the oil. I got to get it in spite of all hell. And by God, I ain't a going home till I got it. Yeah. You know, really very tough passage here. Absolutely tells his absolute determination, absolute strength and power. And you say, no way. Yeah?
Doctor, I just want to say that the plot of the play is very similar to that of the novel Moby Dick, if you have read it.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like because wait a minute, Doctor. In Moby Dick, the captain, I don't know what his name is. I think
Ahab.
Captain Ahab. Yeah.
Captain Ahab, yes.
Ahab, yeah. He wants to kill or hunt
the white whale.
And he became so obsessed with it to the point that he never thought of the well-being of the crew, the whole crew.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's the same in this play. The Captain Keeney also is so obsessed with so he only wants to reach the oil, search for it without thinking of the well-being of the crew and the mental states of his wife.
Very good, young Fal. Very good. Have you read that novel? You've read it in Arabic or in English?
No, in English.
Very good. How come? Who told you to read it?
I didn't read it, but I only listened to the audiobook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a long one, I know.
Yeah, it's lovely. Very good. Well done, young Fal. Well done. Well done. I'm proud of you. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Captain Ahab, you know, in that great novel called Moby Dick by the great American novelist Herman Melville. You know, it's a great novel. Yes, very good, yeah, Anfal, yeah. So here the captain's crazy about it. He said, I will never come back unless I get my ship full of oil from the whales. There is the sound of the subdued sobbing from the door in rear. The two men stand silent for a moment listening. Then Keeney goes on over to the door and looks in. He hesitates for a moment as if he were going to enter, then closes the door softly. Joe, the harpooner, an enormous 6-footer with a battened, ugly face, enters from right and stands waiting for the captain to notice him. So here we come to the problem when the speaker here, Joe, the harpooner, he came to speak to the captain. And Keeney turning and seeing him, don't be standing there like a cork, harpooner, speak up. You know, this is really funny to say, standing him like a cork, you know. Joe confusedly, the men said they want to send a deputation aft to have a word with you. You know, here Joe again is terrified and frightened to speak to him. He said, well, the men wanted to send somebody. Deputation means deputation, somebody as a deputy, as a spokesman for them, to speak for you, to have a word with you. And Keeney, tell them to go to, you know, he wanted to say, well, tell them to go to hell, but he said, okay, okay. Checks himself and continues grimly, tell them to come, I will see them. Okay, hey, sir. Keeney, with a grim smile, here it comes, the trouble you spoke of, Mr. Slocum, and we will make a short shift of it. It's better to crush such things at the start than let them make headway. And I think this is a very good thing. We'll make a shift of it. He said, now I can see the trouble is coming. The trouble you spoke about, it's coming now. And we will make a short shift, means the period. Normally the word shift, we use the word shift means the time. You know, people work, for example, 3 shifts or 2 shifts, means 6 hours and then another 6 hours and another 6 hours and another 6 hours. For example, these are called shifts. You know, it's a short, you know, a period of time. So he said, I will make the whole thing, you know, very short. I will make the scene short. It's better to crush such things. Means it's better to deal with this situation strongly and firmly and crush it, rather than let it go out of hand. Mate, shall I wake up the 1st and 4th, sir? We might need their help. So the mate asking him, shall I ask other men to come to help us? No, not let them sleep. I'm well able to handle this alone. I can do it on my own, don't worry. I can do it, I can handle it myself. There is shuffling of footsteps from outside, and 5 of the crew crowd into the cabin, led by Joe, all dressed alike, sweaters, sea boots, etc. They glanced easily at the captain, twirling their fur caps in their hands. And I think this is what makes him angry, twirling like this, you know, to have your hat like that, you know, as if you are challenging your captain. Sweaters and twirling their fur caps, their hats, you know, these, you know, fisherman hats. And as if to say they are challenging him because they are in a group, and now they are all of them, they can challenge him. Keeney, well, who is to speak for you? Joe stepping forward with an air of bravado. I be, mashallah. I be, I be, this is funny English, isn't it? I be, you know. And again, notice the word bravado means we are strong and we are tough. And, you know, Joe, of course, we know Joe to be, you know, any one of them really is a coward anyway. But here, as you can see, with an a of bravo, meaning pretending to be strong. And, you know, he said, I am. Kini eyeing him up and down coldly. So you be, بالله عليك, أنت يا ولد, yeah, eyeing him. Look at the verb here, eyeing him, you know, looking him in the eye from up to foot, you know. Then speak your say and be quick about it, for it's done today. He's saying, okay then, okay. Oh, sorry, I think I jumped one line. Speak your say and be quick about it. He said to him, okay, say what you want to say and be quick. Joe, trying not to wilt before the captain's glance and avoiding his eyes. Look at the verb here, to wilt. To wilt. Amir, where are you, ya Amir? عامر يا عامر. Hello.
Doctor, he's telling us in WhatsApp that he has some connection problems.
Sorry, he has what? Oh,
he has a bad connection.
Yeah. Amir has bad connections. Well, it's a funny excuse, you know. I know I have to believe you, but never mind. Yeah, Amfal asking me, have you read Moby Dick? Yeah, Amfal. This is a funny question. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah. And then Joe trying not to wilt. Wilt really means here to absolutely to shrink and to die out, you know. Again, the verb here to wilt means really to disintegrate, to die out, to die away, sort of, you know. The time is signed, the time we signed up for is done today. You know, he said it clearly. He said, the contracts are over. We signed with you, and the time we signed is up today. That's it. Kini, you are not telling me nothing I don't know. You are telling me nothing I don't know. You ain't pointing for home yet, as far as we can see. Kini, no. And I ain't going to till this ship is full of oil. You can't go further to the north. You can't go on further north with the ice afore you. The ice is breaking up. Joe, after a slight pause, during which the other mumble angrily to one another, the grub we are getting now is rotten. It's good enough for you. Better men than you are have eaten worse. There is a chorus, there is a chorus of angry exclamations from the crowd. Remember, you know, a whole crowd of men standing and, you know, talking, wanting to convince Captain to go back home, and said the food, here, the grub means the food, the water, everything we have is getting rotten. You know, and he said to him, yeah, there are men who ate worse than this. Joe, encouraged by this support, we ain't going to work no more unless you puts back for home. So Joe saying to him, okay, we are not going to do anywhere unless you go back home. You ain't you? No, and the law courts say we was right. We was right. Yeah. No, we will not. And the law says we are right. And Kini here really says a great sentence. To hell with your law courts. To hell with your law courts. We are at sea now and I am the law on this ship. Wow. Yeah. Really, this is the big statement here. Yeah. In the sea law, really, the captain is the master of, and he's the source of the law. Nobody can challenge him. And he said to him, I am the law here. Edging up toward the harpooner. And every mother's son of you that don't obey orders goes in irons. Yeah. Anybody can translate this to me? Amfal, since you spoke to me and now I know you can speak.
Yes, doctor.
Can you say this? And every mother's son of you, what don't obey orders goes in irons. Five marks bonus for anybody who can translate this to good Arabic. 5 marks. Halal Zalal.
Which one?
Every mother's son of you. Every mother's son of you.
I couldn't hear you.
Sorry?
Can you that you want us to translate?
I'm saying every mother's son of you, what don't obey orders goes in irons.
Doctor, he's saying that ابن أمه اللي ما يطيع الكلام بحطه بالكلبش.
Again, say it again.
ابن أمه اللي ما يطيع الكلام بحطه بالكلبش.
He will use.
Do you say this in Oman, يا عامر?
يا دكتور we say ابن أمه.
هي اللي منكم ابن أمه، يعني مشكك فيهم. اللي منكم ابن أمه، ما يطيع الأوامر will go in irons. بدي أحطه في الكلبش. واو. عامر.
Yes, doctor.
Have you heard this before from me? Honestly.
No, honestly, no.
5 marks for Amr.
5 marks for Amr. والله حلال يا عامر.
Doctor, I want to share them with Faiz. 2.5 for me, 2.5 for him.
واني
واو والله يا عامر انك رجل، والله يا عامر انك شهم، ما شاء الله عليك يا عامر. Yeah, okay. Yeah, look at this. He said every mother's son of you، يلي منكم ابن امه يتحرك ما يطيع الاوامر احطه في الكلبش. ويله ويلي. Yeah, this is lovely, isn't it? Yeah. There are more angry exclamations from the crew. Mrs. Keeney appears in the doorway and looks on with startled eyes. None of the men notice her. And Joe with bravado again, then we are going to mutiny and take the old hooker home ourselves. So here Joe became really stronger. He said, okay, then we will go to mutiny. We will mutinize, if you like. We will go to mutiny and take the old hooker means take the old ship. Take this ship home ourselves. We will take control. We will take control of the ship and we will go back. Ain't we boys? ها يا أولاد؟ ها يا شباب؟ أيوة معايا ولا لا؟ ain't we boys? And he turns to his head. And he turns his head to look at the others. Keeney's fist shoots out to the side of his jaw. Wow. Joe goes down in a heap and lies there. So he hit him only one blow on his jaw. And he fell, notice here, he fell in a heap. Joe goes down in a heap. What's heap? سقط جو وكأنه كومة. Do you say كومة? يتكوم? Huh?
No, I don't think so, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
No,
yes.
doctor, no.
You don't say كومة. يعني يتكوم means يعني like a pile of whatever. Yeah, in a heap. He goes down in a heap. يعني سقط وأصبح ككومة التراب ولا كومة يعني كومة الزبالة ولا كومة أي شيء. Oh, wow. And lies there. Mr. Keeney gives a shriek and hides her. Mrs. Keeney gives a shriek and hides her face in her hands. The men pull out their sheaths, knives, and start a rush, but stop when they find themselves confronted by the revolvers of Keeney and the mate. So the men, took out their knives and wanted to fight. But then when they saw the captain and they saw the captain with his gun, immediately they cowed down. Keeney, his eyes and voice snapping. Hold still! Hey, stop it! The men stand huddled together in a sullen silence. Wow, look at the verb huddle. To huddle يعني زي الغنم. كيف الغنم يوقف جنب بعض كده؟ هذا huddling. The men stand huddled together means shoulder to shoulder like sheep, like really weak, meek, ugly sheep. Keeney's voice is full of mockery. You have found out it ain't safe to mutiny on this ship, ain't you? And now get forward where you belong to. And he gives Joe's body a contemptuous kick. He kicked his body with his boots. Drag him with you. And remember the first man of you I see shirking, I will shoot dead as sure as there is a sea under us. He's saying, if you don't believe me, if any one of you will move, I'm going to shoot, and I will shoot dead. I will shoot clear and real, and you can be sure about it as there is sea under us. And you can tell the rest the same. Get forward now, quick! The men leave in cowed, and look, this is the verb I said, an adjective, in cowed silence. I like this verb, really, cowed silence. Huh? We don't say this in Arabic, بصمت البقر. بصمت البقر, do we say that? I don't know, we don't say this in Arabic, do we?
No.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, in cowed silence, carrying Joe with them, Keeney turns to the mate with a short laugh and puts his revolver back in his pocket. Best get up on deck, Mr. Slocum, and to see to it They don't try none of their sulking tricks. We will have to keep an eye peeled from now on. I know them. So yeah, Keeney, you know, handled the problem easily. You know, one hit, you know, in Joe's jaw, and you know, the whole thing was finished. And he only showed them the gun, and they were terrified. Yes, sir. He goes out. Right, Keeney hears his wife's hysterical weeping and turns around in surprise, then walks slowly to her side. Keeney again, putting an arm around her shoulder with gruff tenderness. There, Annie. Don't be afraid. It'll all pass and done. Yeah. Be okay. You'll be fine. You'll be fine, darling. Yeah, there. And Mrs. Keeney shrinking away from him. Oh, I can't bear it. I can't bear it any longer. Can't bear what, Annie? Mrs. Keeney hysterically. All this horrible brutality, brutes of men, and this terrible shit, and this prison cell of a room, and the ice all around, and the silence. You know, she counted everything. Yeah, I think she's right here to say, you know, the brutes, the men, terrible, you know, the shit, everything. Keeney again, after a pause, during which he looks down at her, you know, with a puzzled frown. Remember, I weren't hankering to have you come on this ship, Annie. I weren't hankering. You know, I was not begging you, you know. I did not beg you to come with me. You wanted to come. I did not want you to come. You came. You wanted to come. I did not beg you. And Mrs. Keeney here really says a lovely sentence, a lovely, of course, speech. I wanted to be with you, David, don't you see? I don't want to wait back here. I don't want to wait back there in the house all alone, as I have been doing these last 6 years. Since we were married, waiting and watching and fearing, with nothing to keep my mind occupied, not able to go back teaching at school on account of being Dave Keeney's wife. I used to dream of sailing on the great, wide, glorious ocean. I wanted to be with you. I wanted to be by your side in the danger and vigorous life of it all. I wanted to see you, the hero that make you out to be in Homeport. All instead, all I find is ice and cold and brutality. I warned you what it would be, Annie. Whaling ain't no ladies' tea party. Whaling ain't no ladies' tea party. Yeah, I told you. This is a terrible job. It's not a tea party. Whaling, shipping like this, you know, fishing like this is a horrible job. I says to you, I told you, and you better stay home where you have got all your women's comforts. Shaking his head, but you was so set on it. You wanted to come. You decided to come. You determined to come. You stuck your head on it. Mrs. Keeney, oh, I know it wasn't your fault, David. You see, I didn't believe you. I guess I was dreaming about the old Vikings in the storybooks, and I thought you were one of them. Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, wives and women here in this way, you know. Yeah, I mean, we don't blame her. She's a wife. She's a loving wife. She does not want to stay back home and wait for him. And because she loves him, she's his wife. So she wants to come with him because he, you know, everybody thinks he's a great captain, and she wants to be proud and to be with him. Again, you know, saying I thought you were one of those old Vikings, those old great, you know, captains of the sea. Captain Keeney again. I done my best to make it as cozy and comfortable as could be. Means I really wanted you to be comfortable. I tried to make this thing easy for you, really. He said, Mrs. Keeney looks around her in wild scorn. I even sent to the city for that organ for you, thinking it might be soothing to you to be playing at times when there was, again here, it's really funny English, they was comes and thinks was dull alike. He said, I brought this organ for you to play, to pass time, because you could be dull and be, nothing to do, so you'd be feel, busy. And Mrs. Keeney again, yes, you were very kind, David. I know that. She goes to the left and lifts the curtain from the porthole and looks out, then suddenly burst forth. I won't stand it. I can't stand it. Pent up by these walls like a prisoner. Pent up, being imprisoned and put up in this prison like being a prisoner. She runs over to him and throws her arms around his neck, around him weeping. He pulls his arms, checking, protectingly over her shoulders. Take me home away. Take me away from here, David. Take me away from here, David. If I don't get away from here, out of this terrible ship, I will go mad. Take me home, David. I can't think anymore. I feel as if the cold and the silence were crushing down on my brain. I'm afraid. Take me home. Take me home. Yeah. Well, yeah. Wives are good in this. They are good in crying. Yeah. Keeney holds her at arm's length and looks at her face anxiously. Best go to bed, Annie. You ain't yourself. You got fever. Your eyes look so strange, like I ain't never seen you look this way before. Mrs. Keeney again laughing hysterically. It's the eyes and the cold and the silence. They would make anyone look strange. In a month or two, with good luck, they're 3 at the most. I will have her filled with oil, and then we will give her everything she stands and pine for home. Meaning we will fill the ship. I will fill this ship, fill her, the ship, with oil and give her the ship, everything she, the ship, stands she can carry, and point for. Pine means point, go the direction of home. But we can't wait for that. I can't wait. I want to get home, and the men won't wait. They want to get home. It's cruel, it's brutal for you to keep them. You must sail back. You have got no excuse. There's clear water to the south now. If you have a heart at all, you've got to turn back. Okay, I think I will stop here because the time is up, and I will continue next time, ladies and gentlemen. I will stop recording. If you have any question, you can ask. Next time I will finish this.